right, y'all. Shout out to Tudor Smith with the accreditation for this video. It's about Billy Preston with the Beatles. Okay, so Daniel Bildo hit me up with the Buy Me a Coffee donation request. So I just want to take some time and honor that. So I'm using a new camera, so I might look a little strange, but I just want to see how things work out, and you guys can let me know how y'all feel about the new angle. You know what I'm saying? Got a little bit of TV going on in the background, but yeah, man, some things changing. 100,000 nice, man. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's check this out and get it.
Mr. Cole? I'll be more than happy to. You started off.
I haven't had a chance to check out Nat King Cole's music yet. So that's definitely a realm where we can go into.
Thank you, Bill Preston. I know that you have a very excellent career ahead of you, and keep up the good work and good luck, huh?
Oh, loved that duet with Billy Preston and Dad. What I loved, too, was that he's so cool. He let this 10-year-old, how old was Billy, 10, 11? He lets this kid have all the glory.
Yeah.
So the journey begins in 1969 during the Beatles' Let It Be sessions. But while many assume that Billy Preston's connection with the band started here, it actually dates back to their early days in Hamburg.
I first met the Beatles in 1962 on a tour with Little Richard and Sam Cooke in Hamburg, Germany. Well, they were the supporting acts on the show.
Supporting
acts?
Yeah.
How old were you in 62?
I do remember that.
15.
15, and you were touring Europe and England with Little Richard.
Yes.
The group had been inspired by the keyboardist's incredible groove and had always thought fondly of him. However, it wasn't until the Let It Be sessions that Preston's role became more significant. During their tumultuous Let It Be sessions in 1969, there was a notable moment when George Harrison temporarily left the Beatles.
I think I'll be leaving the band now.
When?
Now.
Frustrated with the tense atmosphere and conflicts within the band, George decided to take a break and clear his mind. It was during this time that he had the encounter with Billy Preston at a gig. George attended a performance by the band Ray Charles and his orchestra at the Lyceum Ballroom in London. Now,
Now, one thing I'm starting to notice is that a lot of black artists back in that time are going to Europe. You know what I mean? Like you said, Ray Charles, Little Richard. I didn't know there was such a international relationship between Europe and America as far as like black musicians going over there. But, you know, with the way I think sometimes, I kind of feel like maybe they sent them over there to influence Europe. You know what I'm saying? Give black music to Europe and kind of build an international audience like that, you know?
Charles once humorously commented, "I don't play no piano. I got a man who plays it for me. His name is Billy Preston." Now, this statement highlights Charles's recognition of Preston's exceptional skills at the piano.
And you talking about Ray Charles, one of the best pianists of all time, like blind, giving him his props like that? Cool.
Piano and organ, emphasizing that Preston's talent allowed Ray Charles to focus on other aspects of his performance. Now, George was actually unaware that Billy was involved or even playing at the gig, but he was impressed by Preston's musical abilities and positive energy, and he sensed that Preston's presence could alleviate the tensions within the Beatles and bring a fresh perspective to their recording sessions.
Good call, George.
You're giving us a lift, Bill. We've been doing this for days, weeks. Just choking.
Recognising that potential, Harrison invited Preston to join the Beatles during the Let It Be sessions.
Right, I met them, reunited with them last year in January. And I just went down to say hello, and they were recording.
You look like such a cool dude, man.
And
I wish I would have got to meet him.
Says, get on the electric piano, so I went over, started playing, and John says, take a solo.
As we've seen on the Get Back video, Preston's arrival had a significant impact on the dynamics within the band. His charismatic personality and musical talent brought renewed sense of collaboration and positivity to the sessions. The addition of Preston's keyboards, particularly the electric piano, enriched the sounds of the recordings and injected new life into the band's music.
And it's funny because I would assume like what's going on at the time, the band is breaking up and George went about his way and then he ended up going to find Billy. But you got to imagine like the way Billy plays the keyboard, man, and the kind of notes that he used. Like I always noticed that Billy's demeanor is being like kind of transfused with that keyboard. Like I ain't never been so impressed with the energy of how he plays the piano. So I thought that was pretty good, man. Like I could see how his positive energy just completely overwhelmed that stagnant energy like inside of the room with the Let It Be sessions. I just, I kind of pick up on like small things like that.
Sounds of the recordings and injected new life into the band's music. John even commented about letting Billy join the band as the fifth Beatle.
On the film, it happened so great. I mean, I'd just like him in our band, actually. Yeah, I like a fifth Beatle. I mean, at Twickenham, suddenly there was 3, and then there's 4 of us, and there's 5.
So it was then that George's chance encounter with Billy Preston at the gig proved to be a turning point in the Let It Be sessions. Not only revitalizing Harrison's own enthusiasm for the project, but also contributing to the more harmonious and productive atmosphere among the band members. Preston's involvement showcased the power of collaboration and the profound influence that the talented musician could have on a creative process. The Beatles' Get Back single, released in 1969, was actually credited as The Beatles with Billy Preston, and this was done to acknowledge Billy Preston's significant contribution to the song. Preston's electric piano playing added a distinct flavour to the track. His involvement was recognised by crediting him alongside the Beatles on the single release. So it was then that Billy received credit for his playing on a Beatles performance alongside Eric Clapton, Nicky Hopkins, Andy White, George Martin, obviously, Alan Civil, and Anil Bhagwat. But Billy's credit is likely to be the first time an outside musician was officially credited on a Beatles single.
That's kind of tough for me to accept because why not give people credit? Like, the one thing I really don't like about the music industry, and I'm learning this just by watching the Beatles, so money hungry, man. The money, the greed in the music industry, even with just simple things like accreditation, like, he played these notes, could absolutely be something that people will want to pay attention to even in future generations. I mean, we constantly argue on this channel. I back and forth with a lot of you guys about sampling, and whether y'all agree to disagree, man, I really think sampling is innovative in the creative process. I mean, just like Billy's piano playing, you know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily sampling, but it also rises the quality of the music. And the best thing for a musician in a session is to get inspired for new ideas. But back to the accreditation thing, like, the Beatles could have survived a lot longer even if they just had guest musicians come play with them. I mean, man, what kind of bands that you have at the time? You could have had She Not Passed. You could have had Janis Joplin in the Beatles. You could have had Jimi Hendrix with the Beatles. You could have had Tom Tom Jones in the Beatles. You could have had, shoot, man, who was around? Little Richard in the Beatles, Ray Charles in the Beatles, like, and that would have catapulted them into the 70s and 80s. And then you know, between like group albums in between that, you would have saw the Beatles go from one stage to another. And I think that would have highly benefited the group's dynamic in being able to pull ideas and from other musicians. But the accreditation thing, I just really, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling the fact that people just names are not on things that they supposed to be on. You know what I mean?
Now, I know that Anil Bhagwat is credited on the Revolver album for playing the drums, when you know the hand drums. I can't remember what they're called offhand. I'll put it here. But Billy gets the credit on the single release. It's the Beatles with Billy Preston.
That much respect for him, man. That's dope.
Following the Beatles' breakup, the individual members continued their musical journeys, and Billy Preston became a recurring collaborator on their solo albums. First up, we have George Harrison's All Things Must Pass from 1970. Billy's electric piano skills shine on tracks like the iconic My Sweet Lord and the title track All Things Must Pass. On Ringo Starr's 1973 album, Ringo, Preston played a significant role on the album, adding his musical talents to several tracks. He provided keyboards as well as backing vocals on songs like Oh My and Photograph, which of course became a hit single for Ringo. Preston's collaboration on the album helped create a vibrant and energetic sound, contributing to its overall success. Lastly, we have George Harrison's Living in the Material World, also released 1973. Preston's piano and organ skills can be heard on tracks like the title song, Living in the Material World, and Try Some Buy Some. Billy Preston's collaboration with the Beatles and their solo careers left a lasting impact on their music. His distinctive keyboard playing added depth and a fresh dynamic to their song, elevating the overall sound and contributing to their musical growth. Preston's contributions extend.
That's funny. He just said exactly what I said in the last time that I stopped. It's aspiring, bro. There's more to say. There's more to say. I'll wait till the end of the video.
Beyond the Beatles as well. He continued to work with various artists, including Eric Clapton and the Rolling Stones, and he left his mark on the music industry as a whole. Now, we lost Billy to that great gig in the sky in 2006, but his legacy lives on through his influential work and the memories he created with the Beatles and other renowned musicians. So I think that's quite a short video, but it kind of gives us an overview of Billy Preston's collaborations with the Beatles and their solo projects, from the Let It Be sessions to their individual albums. His musical contributions were undeniably significant. So I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching and bearing with. Don't forget to like, subscribe,
and everybody, you know, if you're listening to this on my channel, man, please go over to hope I'm pronouncing your name right, man. Tudor Smith. Go over there and subscribe to his channel, man. Show him some love. Watch a few of his videos as well. But I think that's one of the things that I'm starting to notice when I'm listening to a lot of music. Like you hear influences, man, and you know that that's not the band, but there's always somebody before them that creates this sound, and then someone after it that has better marketability, I guess, in the music industry at that time, is pushed forward using that style. Like, and I do remember seeing something that Little Richard, I think Daniel sent me that. I just saw the thumbnail, but he was telling me about how, you know, Little Richard himself was even pissed off about a lot of bands that would typically use his sound and not accredit him for the influence. Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's almost like somebody at your job that take your idea. Like, you tell them the idea, they take the idea and they get promoted. They don't even want to pull you up because they want to be seen as something that they're not. You know what I mean? So with that being said, post comments down below. Shout out to Daniel. We got a lot more documentaries coming up, man. And I appreciate you guys for coming up. And catch you guys at another one. All right? Peace.